For us, it's been quite a long love affair with the summer. It's been quite warm here up until now, but the weather is definitely starting to change. We've seen temperatures down to about 3 or 2 degrees at night. That means that it's now time for us to actually say goodbye to these lovely summer loving plants. And in today's video, that's exactly what we shall be doing. Hello and welcome back to the No Dig Norfolk Gardener. Now I must start this video by saying a really big thank you for your amazing comments on our big harvest. I think it's a real celebration of no dig gardening. Remember, nothing in these undercover spaces or the outside plots are turned over whatsoever. I was thinking last night actually that we were watching a gardening programme and they're a digger and they were extolling the virtues of mulching, and quite right too. It's a very valuable thing to do. It conserves water, keeps the weeds at bay, but actually with no dig that's exactly what we're doing. As each bed finishes its harvest, we then mulch the beds with our compost that we've made. We don't have to do that job again. It's done annually, once a year. It involves no digging, and all of those wonderful creatures that live in our soil turn that into nutrient-rich soil. Now, I have noted in a lot of your comments over the last few videos that a lot of you actually feel really quite sad that your summer or your warmth-loving plants are coming to an end. And I understand that. These plants have been here since May and they've given us many harvests. Our first sun gold tomato was ready in June. So ever since June, they've been providing us with fresh food that we can eat. But I tend to look at things just that little bit differently. Yes, these plants are coming to their end and they're going to be coming out. But for me, it's a time of renewal. We get another crack at it. All right, you can't grow your tomatoes and cucumbers and things anymore. It is unfortunately too cold here in the UK climate to be able to do that. But I can think of nothing better than on a cold winter's night, and myself and Mrs. W can pop up to either the greenhouse or the polytunnel. We pick some lovely lettuce leaves, those red jewelled radish, some turnip, spinach, and they're on our plate to have a lovely evening meal. That brightens up a cold and dark winter's evening. The other thing, of course, is that these plants actually are not at their end yet. Just because they're coming out of the plots, they have not finished their life yet. They will go on. You can see here all of the plants that we've taken out of the greenhouse. They will go to feed Beauty and the Beast, and they will make nutrient-rich compost for us. And what will happen to those plants? They will once again return to our soil for mulching, So they've not finished their use yet. They still have much to offer our no dig plots. Down here at the greenhouse, you can see that we've removed all of the tomato plants. We've taken our final harvest off those. These bell peppers and chili peppers, we're just leaving just for now to see if they can get ripened. They're already going, they're turning. This is the only plant really that hasn't, where they haven't started turning. So we're just going to leave these in situ just for a little longer. When it comes to putting plants that you want to overwinter in your greenhouse or your polytunnel, the single most important job that you need to do is to clean it. Now it seems an innocuous job. You think, I'll just clean it because, you know, I can see green on there and a bit of algae. That's exactly why you need to do it. The diminishing light means that we're only going to get a few hours every day. That light is precious for the plants that are going to be growing in here. So we need to be able to have the maximum amount of light entering our undercover structures. So whatever you do, don't miss this step. Give your undercover spaces a thorough cleaning, both inside and out. It will also help you to find any pests or predators that may well be in here. When myself and Mrs. W are actually pulling out the tomatoes, the nasturtium plants that we had in there, because our plants are so well covered outside, we actually found a lot of caterpillars in here. Bearing in mind that I should be putting some brassicas into here, maybe some turnips, and some spring green. They'll happily feed on those while you're down in the house on those cold evenings in front of the fire. One of the things I do like to do when I'm doing especially the smaller bits where you get the angled pieces of metal come up, is find one of these really useful. It enables you to get behind the aluminium frame as well, because you really do need to get quite up and personal with your greenhouse. It's amazing what you'll find in here. If you don't like spiders, find somebody to clean it. Because there are some big spiders I've found. Some are all kinds of different colours.
I'm glad I haven't seen the big spiders. I don't like spiders.
Well, let's face it, this is why it's my job, isn't
it? I just do the edges. The mossy edges. It's looking good though.
That goes without saying, if you're going to be washing your undercover structures, it needs to be a relatively dry day. At the very worst, a cloudy day. Otherwise the rain will spoil everything that you're doing. I'm very pleased to say that the sunshine has come out this afternoon. You can see there's lots of light that's now entering this greenhouse. It should help these remaining plants to ripen. But We're ready to plant things now. And today I want to plant some garlic. Now, garlic can be planted any time from September through to December. Autumn planting I always find is best. You can get some varieties that you can plant in the spring, but they will be ready for you just that little bit later. But what we know is that come May, we shall want chilli plants in here, tomato plants, aubergines, cucumbers. So a late June harvest suits us very well for our garlic. Regardless whether you're planting them outside or under cover, the timings remain the same. We now choose to grow our garlic under cover. It keeps the majority of the rust off. In fact, in most years we don't see any rust on the garlic that we grow indoors. So we find that that works really, really well for us. Garlic also needs a period of cold weather, 5 degrees or less. That's what makes the actual head of the garlic split into bulbs for you the following year. If it's too mild, that's when you get what they call a monobulb, which is just a single bulb that you can use. It's perfectly usable, but you don't get the yield that you would normally get. And this is the garlic that we saved from this year's harvest, excluding these two. These are the elephant garlic. They will go outside. I actually do find that they don't seem to get attacked by rust as much, do they?
No,
like
no,
the garlic.
They are part of the leek family out there, aren't they? So it's possibly to do with that they don't.
But leeks too also suffer from rust,
True,
don't they?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, oh yeah.
But
I
we
don't know
didn't
why.
see any evidence of that really on the harvest from this year, did we?
No, not the elephant one.
And it's been a few years now since myself and Mrs. W have actually bought garlic to actually plant. Because if you keep your largest bulbs, you can replant it. It's fine. So your initial investment, because it's quite expensive now to buy the old garlic bulbs, isn't it?
It can be, yes, yeah.
You just take your cloves, and just like all alliums, the flat piece at the bottom is where the roots are going to come from. And the little tail at the top, that's where the leaves are going to come from. Now I've dibbed my holes already, and they are at 15 centimetre, 6-inch intervals, roughly. Mrs. W will probably tell you that my eye is not so good.
His eye is not so good.
Thank you. And all I do is to pop that straight into the hole. Now, garlic wants to be about 2 to 3 centimetres below the ground. Unlike onion sets when you plant them, where you leave a third of them sticking out of the ground, the garlic gets planted. And the easiest and best way that I've found over the years is that you just dib your hole and leave it like that. And then what I shall do is I shall come in here afterwards and I shall actually spread our homemade compost over these beds, and that will give it that extra couple of centimetres that it needs. Doesn't want to be too deep, but on the other hand it doesn't want to be protruding out of the ground. The other thing is that don't worry about the skin. The papery skin that you see on it is absolutely fine to leave that on. You don't have to take that off. And it's as simple as that to plant your garlic. You can see there are some lovely garlic cloves there.
Nice sized cloves, aren't they?
Yeah.
We always save the biggest bulbs, don't we, to get the biggest cloves to sow.
Oh yes.
Next year's.
Oh yes. And actually, as we get down to the middle of this bulb, the cloves will actually start to get smaller. well, you can use that in your kitchen.
Yeah.
So do try and go for the largest bulbs. And if you haven't grown garlic before, it is really worth investing in buying your bulbs. I think we bought ours initially from the garlic farm. And this is a variety called Solent White. We really quite like this. We've tried 2 or 3 other varieties over the years and they're fine, but we absolutely love the taste of this, don't we?
Yeah, and it seems to produce nicest in our soil, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We tried the Mersey White, which we liked equally in flavour, but they didn't do quite so well. They didn't get up quite so big in our soil, did they?
No, they didn't. Then year after year, you see, you get many bulbs. And I've actually dibbed 40 holes in here. We tend to find that 40 heads of garlic sees us through the year. We're not exactly a Jamie Oliver and actually just put a whole head of garlic in something,
No.
are we? So, I'm going to get on planting these. But yeah, if you haven't grown garlic before, give it a try. Invest in those heads of garlic initially, and then just save, well, as many bulbs as you need to each year to actually be able to plant back out into your plots. Now, this time of the year, just like the rest of the plots, we like to give the undercover spaces a nice 2.5 centimetre, an inch covering of fresh compost. So I've got a barrow outside with some of our homemade compost in it, and actually we got a new wheelbarrow last year. What we didn't realise is that it doesn't fit through the greenhouse door.
Oh dear.
So for the greenhouse in future, we might have to revert back to the old wheelbarrow.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway. I see, Mrs. W, you're overwintering something there, aren't you? A flower or something?
Yeah, there's a couple of osteospermums that have seeded themselves in here over the summer. So I'm just going to see if they keep living over the winter. An extra couple of plants, I quite like those.
As I said right at the very beginning of the video, don't be too sad that these plants have come out of here. I said it's a time of renewal. Look in this space here. It looks like it's been renewed. And of course, with no dig, this is the only feed that this greenhouse will get until this time next year. Just an inch layer of our homemade compost, and that will nourish the plants that we shall grow here for the next 12 months. Fingers crossed it will grow nice big fat bulbs of garlic for us. If you haven't tried growing garlic yet, have a go. It's relatively easy to grow. You just plant them and let them grow. One thing I would say is that when you do plant your garlic bulbs, they can sometimes take a while to come through. So don't get too downhearted. It's got a lot to do with temperature and sometimes just how deep you've planted them. But eventually they will poke their green leaves through. Really, it's just a question of watering for the rest of the year then. And they'll grow away nicely. And you'll have yourself a nice, bountiful harvest of fresh garlic. If you do like what we do, please do give us a thumbs up and do leave us a comment. We so love to get your comments. And if you're not already subscribed, then hit that subscribe button. We have videos that come out twice weekly, all through the year. Not only detailing what we're doing in the garden, but we have how-to videos. And those that are already subscribed to our channel, I know that you already enjoy the how-to videos and the sew-alongs, planting videos. It's all really great. And of course, we cover everything from sowing, planting, through to making your own compost. Everything you see on these beds is our homemade compost that we've been busily making all through the year. And when I say all through the year, I mean all through the year. All of the stuff that came out of this greenhouse from the summer plantings, it's all now in Beauty and the Beast, getting nice and warm, and we'll be able to keep adding to our compost heap. And if you want to know exactly how we made this compost, then watch this video coming up on your screen next. But whatever you do, have a great gardening week. And myself and Mrs. W, well, we shall see you very, very soon.